I was recently asked how to run a faster 400-meter race, and I was never a super fast runner in the 400 meter. I did run 53.4 seconds for 400 meters when I was in high school, but I never ran the 400 meter in college. Looking back, I wish I did, but I do have some experience with the 400 meter event. I think with the 400 meter, you really have to focus more on quality over quantity. If you're trying to get faster in the 400 meter, you really have to focus on your overall leg speed. So when I was in high school, I was always doing really fast 200 meters, around 27 to 28 seconds during my 200 meter reps. I was doing 400 meter reps in high school, like 6 to 10 400 meter reps at around 62 to 64 seconds per rep with 60 seconds rest. I do remember doing those types of very fast 200 meter reps. Some other types of workouts I would recommend doing if you're trying to get faster at the 400 meter. You're running at paces that are extremely fast, so you're building up an enormous amount of lactic acid buildup. That's the types of training you do want to think about when you're trying to get faster at the 400 meter event, because this race is highly anaerobic in nature. It's over so fast. You're going to build up an enormous amount of lactic acid in a very short amount of time. So building that endurance, not only just focusing on speed, but also focusing on building that strength and stamina. So focus on being very consistent with your mileage. If you're training for a 400 meter event, it's not like a marathon or an ultra marathon or even like a 5K or a 10K. You don't necessarily have to run an enormous amount of volume to get faster at the 400 meter, but you do have to focus on your speed. You do have to focusing on hill repetitions, all out efforts like repeat 100 meter reps on the track. I mean, if it was me training for a 400 meter now, and I was trying to improve upon that 53 second, I would really be working on sprint drills, repeat 100s all out with full recovery, repeat 200s down toward around 27, 28 seconds. Just depends on the athlete. Some athletes are trying to maybe break 70 seconds for a 400 meter event. So you have to be much more, a little bit more lenient in terms of your paces. But again, short sprint drills, strength training, making sure that you're in the gym once per week, focusing on the core muscles of the body, your abdomen, working on strengthening your quads, your upper body, your shoulders, those types of running related muscles to keep you strong in the 400 meter. Proper pacing, of course, is important. Still in the 400 meter, you don't want to go all out in the first 100 meters or the first 200 meters and just die in the last 200 meters. Even if you're in phenomenal shape as a 400 meter athlete, you're going to be hurting in the last 100 meters of that particular event. I do remember in high school trying to improve on getting under 53 seconds. I do remember trying my hardest to get in the 52s, but I was stronger. My strongest event in high school was the 1600 meter. I ran 425. I did run 946 for 3200 meters, but that's not as strong as a 425 for 1600. I did have a tendency to go out way too fast in my races when I was in high school. Several times trying to go out, I would routinely go out in 60 to 61 seconds the first 400 of a 1600. You have to be more strategic. Okay, if you're trying to, in this case, you're trying to run a 400 meters, so you're not trying to run a 1600, but it's just an example of if you go out way too fast in the first 100 meter, you're going to really be struggling in the last 300 meters of the race. So you do want to get out very fast, because again, you can practically sprint all out for about 200 meters and not build up any large amounts of lactic acid. But again, this is a 400 meters, so I would break the event into 100 meter segments, okay? Gradually turning the screws every 100 meters, waiting until you get to the last 200 meters and really hammer it. It's a two-part race. Really, it's a four-part race. It's 4 100-meter reps around the track. So, but you're not getting any recovery in between each one of those reps. So I think it's important to do the very best you can to, even in this race, run a negative split. Okay, just like a half marathon or a longer race, if you run a negative split, if you run the second half faster than you run the first half, the likelihood of you setting a new personal best is very high. I mean, most track events, even 200 meters, 400 meters, all the way up to the 10,000 meter event on the track, a lot of these events and on the roads are set when athletes run a negative split. So do the very best you can to go out aggressive, but not so aggressive that you redline and you really have to struggle in the last 400 meters of the event. Stay relaxed even in this event. I mean, looking back, I still wish I would have ran the 400 meter in college as well as the 800 meter. I never ran an 800 meter in college. I ran two minutes flat for 800 meters in high school, but I never ran the 800 meter in college or the 400 meter. And I just still, looking back, I wish I would have done that. So continue to develop. If you're in high school, consider running the 400 meter in college. Okay, spend some time running in events that you aren't really suited for, but it's going to help you in the faster, to help you get your race pace in the, say, the 800, the 1500, the 3000, the 5000, 10,000 on the track. It's going to help you because, again, you're running at the paces that you know you're not going to sustain in a 10,000 meter. Okay, so jump into 400, get outside of your comfort zone, and get accustomed to what it feels like to be a sprinter. Okay, and definitely challenge yourself in training. I mean, even now as I'm training for just getting in better shape, I really continue to focus on my overall leg speed. So I may get out on the track and try to break that 53.4 I ran in high school. I still think I could probably get close to it if I was in superior shape. But I think as athletes trying to get faster in the 400 meter, you do have to focus really on the quality. You have to get beyond just volume, because you can run a lot of volume, a lot of mileage training for a 400 meter and not really get faster in that particular event because it's so anaerobic. If you're running like 50 miles a week, 70 miles a week, or that equivalent in kilometers per week, and you're running the majority of that in aerobic capacity, it's going to be very hard to improve upon a fast 400 meter because, again, it's totally different energy systems of the body that you're training. Okay, so it's more important to focus on the quality of your volume rather than the quantity of the volume, especially in the 400 meter event. If you're training for a 10 miler, a 10,000 meter, 5K, half marathon, or marathon, then higher mileage is more important, but also speed is still critical. Okay, a lot of endurance athletes, long distance runners, spend a lot of their focus on volume, but still neglect the speed aspect. So even as a long distance runner, you still have to focus on your speed because there's going to be surges in the race. There's going to be times when athletes are trying to break you in the race, and you have to make sure that you're really focusing on, even as a marathoner, doing repeat 200s, repeat 400s, repeat 600s, repeat 8s, repeat Ks. The same goes with 400 meter athletes, but especially for 400 meter athletes because that race is over within, in some cases, under 55 seconds, under 60 seconds, under 80 seconds, just depends on the athlete. So you really have to focus on your leg turnover, your speed, those hard intervals, but also spend some time training at anaerobic threshold. Okay, if you're doing a train for a 400 meter, work on getting that your AT runs, your anaerobic threshold runs, out to around 2 miles. Okay, think of how much stronger you're going to be if you're doing some tempo runs between 2 and 3 miles in length, but also combining that hard track sessions and those hard fartlek workouts on the roads. You're incorporating all that, still maintaining a significant amount of volume, but really drilling down on doing the little things in your races that are going to help you advance and get faster and surpass your competition. Relaxation is key in that 400 meter, staying calm and in control throughout that full 400 meters distance. So I hope this video helps, at least in some cases, in sharing some ideas and tactics that helped me run 53 in high school. Again, I think probably my top speed in college, if I would have aimed for that, I think would maybe been a high 51, maybe a mid 52. But like I mentioned before, I did run this event. I do understand how quick it is, how fast it's over with. And so continue to stay strategic in your training. Think quality over quantity. And I know you're going to set a new personal best. Feel free to let me know in the comment section, what is your current personal best for 400 meters and what's your particular long-term goal? If you're a marathoner or you're a long-distance runner, what is your particular long-term goal for the 400 meter? I'd love to hear it. So if you're trying to get faster over the 800 meter all the way up to the ultra marathon distance, check out the resources below these videos as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com. I know they'll help you get a new personal best in your particular event, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.